As women enter their 40s, they often find themselves at a crossroads. Societal expectations and personal challenges can become overwhelming, affecting not just their own lives, but also their families. It's a phase where they're expected to have it all together, having spent years building careers, raising children, and maintaining relationships. But what if this is not a crisis, but a crucible? What if the so-called madness is not a breakdown, but a profound, terrifying awakening? You have spent 2 decades, perhaps more, living by a script you did not write. The roles of the devoted wife, the nurturing mother, the reliable employee, these masks have become so fused to your skin, you've forgotten the original face beneath. But now, a deep, dissonant hum has started beneath the rhythm of your daily life. It is the sound of a self, long buried, beginning to stir. This is the great, unsettling paradox. The very stability you've built, the family, the home, the routine, can become the very cage you must break. The world calls this breaking crazy. It pathologizes the upheaval, the tears, the rage, the sudden, unaccountable need for something more. But what if this chaos is not destruction, but the first necessary tremor of creation? What if the woman who seems to be tearing her family apart in a brutal, misunderstood act, trying to save her own soul? This is not a simple midlife crisis. This is a philosophical and spiritual emergency. It is the moment you confront a life lived inauthentically, and the terrifying, exhilarating question arises: is it too late to become who you are meant to be? To understand this descent into the abyss, we must first uncover the invisible prison she has inhabited for decades, a cage built not of iron, but of ideas. If this exploration of the shadow self resonates with you, subscribe to the channel for more journeys into the philosophical abyss. This invisible prison, as Friedrich Nietzsche diagnosed, is built on a foundation of slave morality. For decades, your value is defined by its utility to others, your compassion, your sacrifice, your endless capacity to nurture. This morality, which you internalized as virtue, was a cage of others' expectations. But now, the biological drive to mother recedes, and the societal applause for your sacrifice grows faint. What remains is a chilling silence, and in that silence, a more primal, powerful force awakens: the will to power. This is not a crude desire to dominate others, but the fundamental drive within all life to achieve its fullest, most potent expression. Your soul is no longer satisfied with being good. It screams to become great, to become itself. Carl Jung would call this the emergence of the shadow. All the traits you suppressed to be pleasant, your ambition, your rage, your dark creativity, your selfish desires, now arise from the depths, not as monsters to be slain, but as vital, disowned parts of your being demanding integration. This is a psychological uprising. The crazy woman is simply one whose conscious self is at war with the totality of who she is. She is not breaking her family. She is, for the first time, attempting to build herself. The rage is not a chemical imbalance, but the logical, spiritual response to a life of self-betrayal. But this necessary rebellion carries a terrifying price, one that unfolds not in dramatic confrontations, but in the quiet, unseen erosion of the world she once knew. The path to self-overcoming is a solitary one, but we can walk it together. Subscribe for more guides to navigating the chaos of becoming. This rebellion, this necessary war for the self, does not announce itself with a single dramatic explosion. It begins in the quiet moments. It's the hesitation before you laugh at a joke that once would have made you smile. It's the hollow ring of your own voice saying, "I'm fine." The first, unseen consequence is a profound and disorienting alienation. The family dinner table, once your domain of connection, becomes a stage where you are a ghost, performing a role written for a woman who no longer exists. Your partner's touch can feel like a claim on a territory you are no longer sure you wish to surrender. This is the cruel paradox of awakening. To find yourself, you must first become a stranger to everyone you love. You are dismantling the architecture of your shared reality, brick by psychic brick. Neurologically, this is a rewiring. The cognitive biases that once filtered your world to maintain harmony, the confirmation bias that upheld your choices, the sunk cost fallacy that chained you to your investments, now shatter. You see the cracks in the marriage, the subtle manipulations, the unspoken resentments not as fleeting problems, but as the foundational flaws of an entire life. This is the true unseen danger. The moment your perception shifts, the past is retroactively ruined. Every memory is recontextualized, not as a happy moment, but as another brick in the wall of your confinement. The family you built begins to sense this shift, not as a discussion, but as an atmospheric change, a chilling of the emotional climate. And this forces the ultimate, terrifying question. Once you have seen the bars of the cage, can you ever unsee them? Or must you, inevitably, break them? Let this channel be your companion in the great unraveling. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next confrontation with truth. The breaking point, then, is not a failure, but a threshold. To cross, it requires a radical, counterintuitive embrace of what Nietzsche called the spirit of gravity. You must stop fighting the feeling of heaviness, of despair, and instead dive into its very core. This is the pivotal mindset shift. Your pain is not a sign that you are broken, but a compass. It is pointing with unbearable accuracy towards every place you have been untrue to yourself. The rebellion is not about loudly leaving a room. It is about the silent, seismic decision to stop lying once you are inside it. It begins with a single, terrifying act of honesty, not with your family, but in the private court of your own soul. Admit what you truly want, what you truly resent, what you truly envy. This is the amor fati, the love of one's fate. You must look at the wreckage of your old identity, the confusion, the fear you are causing, and not see a mistake, but the necessary raw material for your rebirth. Think of the historical figures who broke free. Joan of Arc heeding her voices, or Simone de Beauvoir rejecting the passive feminine destiny. Their power was not in following a new map, but in burning the old one and walking by the starlight of their own conviction. You must cease asking for permission to exist. This is how you reclaim control, by accepting that the chaos you are creating is not destruction, but the necessary clearing of a field, making space for a structure of your own design. But this act of creation demands a final, most profound confrontation, not with your family or society, but with the very nature of the self you are fighting to save. If you feel the weight of these unseen consequences, share your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe to continue this vital rebellion with us. The ultimate truth, the final and most shattering realization, is this: there is no stable, finished self to discover or set free. The woman you were was a performance. The woman you are is a storm of becoming. And the woman you will be is a promise written on water. You have not been breaking your family apart to find your true self. You have been breaking it apart because you are alive, and life is not preservation. It is a relentless, creative, and yes, destructive force. This is the paradigm shift that makes all the struggles suddenly clear. You are not sent into this chaos to find solid ground, but to learn how to dance on shifting tectonic plates. The family you are perceived as shattering was perhaps always an illusion, a temporary constellation of souls that your growth has now rendered obsolete. This is the poetic, cinematic conclusion of your journey. You are not a noun, but a verb. You are not a portrait, but the brushstroke itself. To ask, "Who am I?" is the wrong question. The powerful question is, "What may I become?" Your rebellion was never about rejecting the roles of mother, wife, or partner. It was about transcending the very concept of role itself, to exist as a force of nature, not a function within a social machine. Let this haunt you and inspire you. Your so-called madness was the birth cry of a higher consciousness. You did not break a family. You outgrew a world. And now, standing in the ruins you had the courage to make, you face not an ending, but a terrifying, magnificent, and utterly blank horizon. Now begin. The ultimate truth is a constant becoming. If you are ready for more, subscribe, and let us continue to dismantle the illusions together.